Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Master of None here. Today is a bit of a scary video. As of time of recording this, I've just finished the prologue of the Icebrood Saga, and I absolutely loved it. This either means that I'm about to lose some credibility, because I seem to be the only one that has something positive to say about it, or, and I'm not sure what is worse, the rest of the Icebrood Saga is going to be downhill from here. Either way, I'll be reporting back with my experiences. Let me tell you why I love the prologue so much. Grothmar Valley. This is my favorite zone of all time. It's a beautiful place and very different from the rest of the game. The color palette is extremely vibrant and it reminds me a lot about the Blood and Wine expansion from The Witcher 3. I think ArenaNet also managed to nail the vibe of the zone, as it was back in Guild Wars 1 Eye of the North. This zone has everything that I love in GW2 and executes it so well, while at the same time managing to surprise me again and again. It has secret areas, puzzles, a mysterious room with a big ass chest, a jumping puzzle with interesting mechanics, and probably the most creative and varied amount of events of any GW2 zone. On top of that, it has collectibles in the form of coins, which is nothing new, but I always quite enjoy going after them. I haven't even started going for the achievements yet, and have just been taking it all in. There are also these little brand stompers around the map, which start a little mini event when you interact with them. You have to keep it protected until it's finished charging, and then you get an achievement. This is nothing groundbreaking or difficult, but I always liked finding one of these machines in the world and activating it. It helped to break up the pace, since I find with a lot of Guild Wars 2 stuff, it can feel like go fast. Even with the collectible coins, you just jump there with your mount and 10 seconds later, you're already halfway across the map running to an event. So this was a nice way of slowing down a bit and spending some time in a more remote area of the map. Grothmar Valley also has its own Beetle Racing event, which I love to see. I recently learned, thanks to one of you guys, that there is this whole community around Beetle Racing, with special leaderboards and add-ons to measure time more accurately. This just blew my mind and I'm very intrigued by it. Maybe I could do a video on it at some point if I have the opportunity to do so. At this point, I would also like to remind you to hit that like button. It does really make a big difference on a small channel like mine. I was delighted to discover an old school jumping puzzle in an area without gliding or mounts. It has been years since I've done all the jumping puzzle achievements with my brother, and this brought me back to that time. The mechanic was also very thematic for the map, where you have to carry a torch from the beginning to the end, lighting bonfires along the way. If you fall into the water or get hit by a water spewing frog, you need to go back to relight the torch. I thought this was a very elegant and immersive way of having checkpoints. The jumping puzzle reminded me a lot of the Super Adventure box, because of the section where you jump over leaves through a foresty area and get harassed by pixel frogs. I also noticed that there is an achievement for doing it within a certain time. This is awesome, but I'm not sure if I am ever going to go for it, because I was already pulling my hair out trying to get through it without the time stress. On the topic of pulling my hair out, the little adventure in the secret Ash Legion base took me a couple tries to get used to it. Once I got the hang of it though, it was just a matter of execution and it was a satisfying little puzzle. I want to talk a bit more about the events in the zone. ArenaNet went all out on them. There is a big variety here that all play out quite differently. From the derby event where you choose for which team you are going to fight and then go at each other in these char motorcycles with rockets on them, to the Flame Legion event where you try to carry a torch to the effigy, feeling almost like some kind of Olympia torch runner. On top of that, Grothmar Valley has the best event in the entire game. The Metal Legion concert. My god, this thing is awesome. And this isn't even my type of music, but it's so action-packed, funny and cool at the same time. You're trying to get the crowd hyped up as much as possible by jumping into mosh pits, supercharging the amplifiers, covering for backup dancers and fighting off bad guys. At the same time, your ears get blasted by the Metal Legion concert music. It's simply amazing. This is something I already noticed during the Thunderhead Keep meta. A lot of the new events cut down drastically on downtime, which gives them much more urgency and that alive feeling, so to say. I'm also a big fan on how ArenaNet managed to incorporate non-fighting activities in a fun and smooth way. The creativity was really off the charts and made this whole thing super enjoyable. All these experiences put me in a great mood, so it's not surprising that I also enjoyed the prologue story. The whole dynamic with Ritlock's partner and their son was pretty interesting. Bram calling in drunk after every story step added some great comedic relief to the general tension that you could feel brewing up. Bangar made for an interesting villain because he's a much more comprehensible and interesting character than Almighty Elder Dragon for me. Although the fight against Krakotoric was epic and a big step up compared to Mordremoth and especially Zaitan, my favorite part about Season 4 still was the episode against Joko. It's a bit of a shame that he got killed off so quickly, but it was a great episode nonetheless. It really excites me for the time that we are finally done with Elder Dragons and ANET can focus on other stories. I don't really have a lot of negative things to say, except for the mastery that didn't seem to do anything. I'm not sure if it is even used in Grothmar Valley or if it's only part of the next zone, but right after finishing this video I'll keep playing and we'll probably figure it out soon. 3 weeks ago I made a video talking about my little pet peeves with the game, and one of my points was how I thought ArenaNet could really update some of their sound effects. I thought this was really apparent in this episode again. There is a cutscene where Ritlock punches Bangar in the face and the impacts didn't have any sound, which was really immersion breaking to me. I discovered later that this actually wasn't the case, but that my audio was just bugging out again weirdly. When I watched back the recording, I couldn't hear anything but the sound of the punches. So there is something weird going on with audio channels or something like that. In that video I also talked about how they should really update the crowd noises. And I'm super happy to report that this episode actually had new effects. They're miles better than the old ones, and they used it quite a few times in the prologue, but also in the open world with the rock concert, for example.
Thank you, Legions! You're a great crowd!
So yeah, all in all, I had a great time with the prologue. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to make a video on every episode separately, or if I'll put some of them together. This also depends on how much there is to talk about with the rest of Icebrood Saga. By playing through the prologue, I've also unlocked the first strike mission, but I think I'll wait with tackling that content until I've finished all of the story. I do really like how there's an actual physical location to enter them. However, I understood that you can also access them through the Eye of the North, which I think is a bit of a shame. It's the old discussion about immersion versus convenience. Anyway, the story ended by me getting a mail with a link to a trailer. The trailer was beautiful and I'm dying to see what comes next, while trying to be cautious at the same time. Basically, I just try to go in with an open mind and I'll be back to tell you more about it. Thank you for watching and hope to see you in the next one.